Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Everyone who's coming in from the waiting room. I'm so excited to see so many of you here. We're going to keep admitting all of y'all. And it should be a big group today, in a meeting too. So we'll have lots of faces visible and we'll be able to be in breakout rooms later so you can actually say hi. But thanks everyone for joining. I'm enjoying someone's picture of a tiger as their background image. I'm super excited to see you. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and turn over power to admit all to my colleague Roland so that I can get us moving. But thank you everyone for joining us for Do NASA Science Live. This is a special event for communities in the service member, veterans, and all their families. Those groups we are specifically reaching out to today. And it's also April, so it is under the theme of 1 million acts of science, which I will get into later on as well. But we're really excited to see you all, so we'll be able to get a chance to talk to you very soon. This is a program, Do NASA Science Live, produced by SciStarter and hosted by SciStarter. That includes myself and a bunch of my colleagues on the call here today. It's an Arizona State University research affiliate with over 200,000 registered citizen scientists, and we encourage you to join it. We'll explain how to do that later today, but it's pretty easy. Go to the website, hit sign up, and then you'll be ready to go find more projects just like the ones you're learning about today. This is a meeting, but there should be access to both a Q&A and a chat. If you can't find the Q&A, you can also use the chat, so no worries about that. You can share your thoughts, seek technical support. If you do need specific help, there is a bunch of co-hosts in here who are happy to help you, so you can send specific messages to us so we can get you the help you need. And you can also send in questions to the Q&A that are bigger and things that you want answered for everyone. Please maintain a tone of kindness, respect, and curiosity, which goes without saying. We're all here to enjoy each other's company and learn something. Now, to make sure that you all know how to use the chat, we're just going to do a quick check. Go ahead and say hello in the chat. I'll double check that we actually have access to the chat. That would be a good thing to have. And then, let's see, everyone. There we go. Yes. You should be able to say in the chat where you're calling in from. And I see a bunch of them already coming in. Awesome. And I'll go ahead and say, hi, zooming in from DC. Yay. Oh, I love all these messages already. Hello. From all kinds of places. From India, from Arkansas, from Florida, Philly, Hellertown, Brooklyn, New York, Maryland, more India. Wow, all over the world. This is awesome. Rhode Island. Hello from Rhode Island. New York City, Philadelphia. Wow, a lot of Philly and New York. Bangladesh, North Carolina, Orange County, California. That's where I'm from. Hi. The UK. Nice. Russia. Wow. Hello. Ohio. Wow. Okay. We're from all over the place. Feel free to keep using the chat to say hello. We're excited to have you in here. Perfect. Now, in addition to using the chat, we are also going to be using a special feature called Menti polls. There are a couple ways to join. So there will be a QR code in the screen for you to answer. So with a mobile device, if you're using a computer, you can scan it from your computer and answer the questions that come up on your phone. You can also use a link that I will drop in the chat for you, so you don't have to worry too much about using a secondary device. You can also go to menti.com and add the code manually too, if that's easier. We're going to test this out, see how we do. On this screen, I'm going to go ahead and bring up that QR code and add it to the chat as well. What we're asking about is where you heard about this. So where did you hear about this event? Maybe it's one of the options on the screen that I'll read out loud, or something else, and you can feel free to add it in the chat. So essentially, where did you hear about this? Did you hear about it from a NASA website? Did you hear about it from SciStarter? Were you notified by your local VA center? Is it other? The one you can't see, I'll just move that for a second. Did you attend the January 29th event, Do NASA Science Live, and so you knew to come back for this one? Where did you hear? Ooh, cool. Zooniverse email. Nice. Military One Source. Awesome. SciStarter website. Perfect. Providence, VA. Nice. I heard about it because everyone in Rhode Island knows everyone in Rhode Island. Mark, one of our speakers. Thank you. From a friend on social media. Awesome. Love that. Yay. All right, I'll give you a couple more seconds to test this out with Mentimeter and then we'll keep moving. Ooh, used to work at Goddard Space Flight Center. Nice. From Cyprus. Cool, welcome. Nice. Got some families on here, it looks like. Ooh, Citizen Science Lab. Awesome. Okay, these are great. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and move us forward. If you didn't have a chance to use Menti yet, there will be several opportunities to do so. So no rush, no worries. All right, so you're here to talk to a bunch of people. These are events put together by these lovely team members. So we have at the very top there two of our NASA colleagues, Mark Kuchner, who is the Citizen Science Officer of NASA's Science Mission Directorate. He will have a chance to say hello to you all and talk a little bit more about that. He's also part of several different citizen science projects, so a practitioner as well. Sarah Kern is the NASA Citizen Science Strategist from the Gulf of Maine Research Institute. And then on the far right there is Kim Ferrante from the Veterans Affairs in Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island, here to talk about in one of our breakout rooms to talk more about the experience from a veteran's perspective. So you will hear from her later on. On the lower level, though, there is myself and the founder of SciStarter, Darlene, who's in the audience today. We're in the middle of the day. And then yes, Caroline and Roland are both in the conversation today too, who are also in the SciStarter team to help us run this event and make sure everything runs smoothly for you. For the actual conversation with your project teams that you'll have a chance to learn from and talk to and practice citizen science with are led by our experts on this screen. So we've got Amy and Danny from Burst Chaser. We have Carson from the Daily Minor Planet, and Jose and Nathan are from Dark Energy Explorers. We'll hear from them very soon, so we'll get some more information from them shortly. So today's webinar, it's all about how you can help NASA and NASA can help you. So we want to make sure that you know how to engage with real research and then also learn what you can do to get involved with NASA as well. So we'll also come back near the very end of this event to talk more about internships, skills building, other things you can participate in to get more connected with NASA on a more career-specific level. And we chose this time to speak with you in April because it's also a very special month for SciStarter and all of citizen science. It is Citizen Science Month. Every year, the SciStarter community aims to reach 1 million acts of science to further research. And so your attendance to this event counts towards that 1 million acts of science count. And all your participation in the breakout rooms that we do later today also will count. When we say active science, I'm going to back up a little bit so we can make sure we understand what I mean by that and so that you understand what citizen science is too. We're referring to activities that further scientific research. So it's called citizen science, sometimes called participatory science, and there are, of course, other words as well. This is our formal definition. So it's a global movement, which is why we have people from all over the world here. Global movement that enables people from all walks of life to contribute to real scientific research in collaboration with scientists, like those who are speaking today. So if you want to learn more about citizen science, you can also go to the website that Roland just dropped into the chat. So feel free to do that. When we talk about citizen science, it can involve all kinds of things. We're going to talk about many of them today, but this is involving observing things. You could be looking at the night sky, searching for the level of light pollution, for example. You could be looking at biodiversity. It's about monitoring. It's about measuring. So you're looking at air quality, water quality, marine debris or litter. Analyzing things. That's a lot of what we're going to be doing today in the breakout rooms. You could be collecting photos and samples. There's all kinds of things you can be doing, and often enough, it's from your own backyard. So we want to make sure that all of you are prepared to do all kinds of projects. So if these definitions sound familiar to you, or you know you're already involved and you want to share what you're involved in, we would like to know what projects are you involved in already, whether it's a NASA citizen science project or something else. Feel free to drop it in the chat. I myself am a big fan of Dark Energy Explorers, or at least a participant of Dark Energy Explorers, but also things like a naturalist, eBird, all kinds of things. Just the Zooniverse, anything on Zooniverse. I love that answer, Brenda. A lot on Zooniverse. Feeder Watch, sweet, got some bird lovers. iNaturalist, Seek, Budburst, Burst Chaser, awesome. Isaac, Asteroid Search Campaign, nice. Audubon Christmas bird count. Coco Roz, yes. Coco Roz just reported hundreds of thousands of reports to us this morning. They are incredible. So thank you for being a part of that one. More Isaac, yeah. Active asteroids, great. Galaxy Zoo, yeah, lots of Zooniverse friends. Nice, and many, many more. Feel free to keep dropping those in the chat. Pulse seekers, awesome. Feel free to keep dropping these in the notes as I keep going, just to make sure we make time. But I'm actually going to pass it off to our first speaker, Mark, to tell us more about NASA Citizen Science and why we're talking to all of you today. And this is his lovely face that you'll actually see spotlit in a moment here.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Emma. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And an enormous thank you to all the veterans, the service members, the people who love them. Just, I really appreciate your sacrifice, the things you've done for us. And I've gotten to work with a few veterans through our citizen science projects, and I can't get enough. I learned the veterans are just these super powerful people get things done. And I just love the chance to do science with you. So, we do science in NASA all day long. We send to the public our pictures, you've seen pictures from the James Webb Space Telescope and so on. Um, we're also learning how to share the process of doing science with everybody, the roller coaster ride of it, right? Sometimes you have a good day and you make a cool discovery, and sometimes you have a bad day. There's dead ends, there's noise in the data, there's telescopes breaking, you know what I mean? And but it's an amazing ride. And if you'd like to go on that journey with us, that's why we're here to see if you have time in your day to take that ride of science with us. We have 32 different projects across all five science divisions at NASA. We work with almost 3 million volunteers from around the country, and some of them just hop on and participate for a few minutes, and that's great. Others make it a habit, make it a passion. And it's changed the way that I like to do science. I'm trained as an astrophysicist myself, and I discovered the opportunity to work with volunteers doing science, and it just changed how I like to live. And more scientists are going down this route and learning the joy of what it's like to open up their projects, their hearts to contributions from other folks. And we can do, besides how fun it is, we can do unique science that we couldn't otherwise do with it. Citizen science is a remarkable process for getting a handle on things that are big, things that are too big for one scientist to explore by herself. For example, an aurora, right, takes up the size of a continent. It's really useful to have people on the ground taking pictures of it from all different angles. That's true also in data space. Sometimes we have big data missions that return 2 billion images of different objects, and there's no way that one person can wrap his head around it. So we've come to rely on help from people like you to to help us to bring your curiosity, to bring your passion to this crazy thing that we call science, and make discoveries with us. And more than 500 NASA citizen scientists have now become co-authors on published papers through their involvement with NASA citizen science. Uh, Publishing a paper is a whole big adventure on its own. However, you are available, interested in pursuing this with us, we are grateful. Now, I don't want to hold us back from talking about science, so I'm going to pass the mic back to Emma. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Mark. Perfect. And we're going to get right into it. We want to spend most of this hour actually getting to bring you into the fold and doing these projects. And so, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and explain how we're going to make that happen. So, we're going to break out into smaller groups. You get to decide where you go, and you'll have a chance to meet these scientists and volunteers, a couple volunteers in here. and ask questions, actively participate in the research that they do. And this is your chance to be a part of the NASA science. So whether you join a group that you are already a part of the project or you want to try out a new project based on the three available, that's up to you. In addition to this main room that we're in, there will be three options, each focusing on one project. So you're free to move between the rooms if you'd like. You can switch. You can come back to the main room if you would like. All of that is free for you. But once you're in your breakout room, the project leaders will essentially guide you step by step, show you how to contribute, share with you the Zooniverse platform, which all three of the breakout rooms will be using. So you don't need any prior experience. We're going to walk you through it from the beginning. All you need is curiosity and active participation. Before we open the rooms, I'm going to let our scientists basically give you a nice commercial of what their project is so that you have a good idea of where you want to go. They're going to really sell it, sell it to you, and see what, and share with you what you'll be learning about. And so it'll be in this order. So we'll hear from Burst Chaser first. We'll hear from Amy. Daily Minor Planet, we'll hear from Carson, and then Jose Salcedo from Dark Energy Explorers. I'm going to drop my screen share. Oh, and then we'll hear from Sarah. Sorry. We'll hear from Sarah to explain the main room as well. I'll drop my screen share so we can see those faces as they say hello. And we'll start with you, Amy. Go for it.
Hi, can you hear me?
All good.
Good. Yeah, I already see several of you actually participate in Burst Chaser, so thank you very much. So in Burst Chaser, we try to explore the mystery of one of the biggest explosion in the universe called gamma ray burst. So we don't know currently whether they come from supernova, black hole, or neutron star. So we need all your help to help us sort that out. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. And then we're going to go to Carson to talk about
Hey
daily.
everybody. Yeah, I'm Carson. I'm with the Catalina Sky Survey and we run the Daily Minor Planet and we have one goal and that is to find asteroids. Mostly those asteroids that come close to Earth and may threaten us with an impact, but we are also looking for asteroids in the main belt. And we found quite a few of them so far. I think we've reported 3,000 positions of asteroids so far. So come join us, find some space rocks.
Amazing. Awesome. All right, Jose, over to you.
Hello. So Dark Energy Explorers is a project where we're using the Hubble Eberly telescope in Texas, which is found at McDonald Observatory. If you've ever gone to the Big Bend area, that telescope is collecting images, and those images can either be noise, an actual galaxy, or a black hole. So we need your help as a citizen scientist to be able to distinguish that, since your naked eye is way better than just looking at a algorithm telling you if it's real or not.
Perfect. Thank you, all of you. And Sarah, you are up.
Sure, and if none of those projects catches your eye, I'm gonna be doing a quick tour of the NASA Citizen Science web pages, just letting you know where you can find information. And then I'll be talking about 4 different groups of projects, just to try and give you a sense of what's out there among those other 30 plus projects, besides the 3 that we're featuring today. So if you're curious about a bigger picture overview, hang out in the main room and I'll give you one.
Awesome. Perfect. And before we get moving into the breakout rooms, I just want to give you all a heads up to something that you will hopefully be able to do in real time with us. In order for us to count this for 1 million acts of science and get closer and closer to that point, we would like to make it easier for you to be involved. This will be available to you in each of those breakout rooms, so don't be alarmed by all this, but this is the sign up process to be in our leaderboard, so we can see just how much we do in this community, in this 1 hour as a unique group, what we can accomplish. And then it will keep going too, so you'll be able to join this group on Zooniverse, so we'll keep seeing how much is being done over time. It's a really, really cool way to see what the impact is of being in this event today. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and drop my screen share and open up the breakout rooms. The 3 available will show up as those project titles. Once I find the button would be great. Or not find the button. Where did you go? Ah, Roland, help me. Do you have the breakout rooms button near you? Not sure why I don't. Where did Roland go?
Yeah, found it.
Oh,
Open
there you
all
are.
rooms, correct?
Yeah, open all rooms. Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you. And make me a co-host when you can. When they appear, you'll be able to. I feel like we should be doing the Jeopardy theme song in the meantime. Okay. All right, so they should be open. So in the bottom of your screen, oh, there we go. Okay, let me go ahead and I'm gonna reset them because I think, oh, there we go. Do I see people leaving? Or should I reset it? I just hit the button so that you can open the room by yourself. It looks like people are moving. Okay. My leaders, are you able to see the breakout rooms button? It looks like if you go into breakout rooms, it'll you'll scroll down to find your room, and then it'll give you a join button. If you need help, I can also assign some of you. Okay. All right. Some of you good. Danny, do you want me to push you into the room? I think I can if you're still there. Oh,
Yeah, I'm not listed in the rooms thing.
oh, that's okay. All you need to do is scroll down to where you see the title. So you can hit the button, just scroll down all the way and you'll see the word Burst Chaser.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go. Holly, if you want to learn about the other projects, you can stay in this main room and you'll learn about the other projects. Yes. Branislava, that's the same. Yes. Same answer there. All right. Great. Okay.
All right.
Looks like we're getting there. So I'm going to go ahead and shift over to the other room.
Okay.
Enjoy. Yeah, go for it.
All right, super. So thanks everyone who's staying in the main room to get this big overview of NASA citizen science. There's so much to talk about. So first things first, what I'm going to do is share my screen. And I'm going to go to this website and I'm just dropping the link in the chat so you can bookmark that for later. But I really encourage you to just stay with me and get this overview for now. So share. Okay, I think you should all be sharing my screen. Can I get a thumbs up, Mark? Awesome, thank you. So here, if you follow that, this is the landing page for our NASA Citizen Science project. So this is our nice header and choose a project below. So scrolling down, here's a little banner about the special months of April, Citizen Science Month. But if you keep scrolling down, these are all of our projects, and there are a whole bunch of them. And at the present, we don't have great tools to help you find them. So that's what we're talking about today, or find the one that you want. Definitely read those titles, read their little taglines, read the project summary. So I'm going to open one of these semi at random. How about the Isaac project? Because we know there's a bunch of people who are familiar with Isaac here. So these summary pages are a very kind of the shortest view that you can have of a project. It gives you a little bit about the science that's involved. It tells you something about the kinds of people who the project has really been created for. It tells you about the division. So is this something that's focused on Earth? Is it something that's focused on planetary sciences or within our solar system? Is it focused on the sun, heliophysics, or is it focused on the universe? Or there are some very special projects talking about the biology and physics of life and space. So there's that overview there. It also tells you if it's online or if it's outside and you're actually outside collecting observations or doing something out of doors. There's a video. Each of these summary pages has a video that gives you an overview. And then there's this kind of, what do you get to do? Like, what's so cool about this opportunity? What kind of requirements are there? Is there any special equipment you need? The vast majority of them, you don't need any special equipment other than a computer with an internet connection or even a smartphone with an internet connection. And then it gives you like, how do you get started? 1, 2, 3. And then some more information if you're interested in learning more. There's links to more about the science that a project is doing. There's sometimes examples like this of the data that you can work with. So that's what a summary page looks like. There's a couple other special things I want to bring your attention to. This is a really international group of people, which is so exciting. Many of our projects are translated into different languages, and you can find all the projects that are translated into the language you're interested in on this page. So that's the languages page, and you can search that in a few different ways. And there's one other thing I'm really excited to show you. Meet the people. So we've already mentioned that sometimes when a citizen scientist or volunteer in a project has made a really significant contribution, they become a co-author on research papers that are written up. And that's the way that scientists tell each other about what they've learned. So when a citizen scientist has been part of one of those co-authoring, those teams of people who are writing up the discoveries they found through the project, in the past, we've been able to do a profile of them. And this page, it's not quite, there we are. So these are some of the people who've actually who've been those co-authors. We don't have time or ability, kind of capacity to celebrate everyone. So we know there's a lot of co-authors already in this group. We're sorry if we haven't featured you yet. We're working on a new way to actually celebrate more of you at a time because there are just too many of you. It's so exciting. But if you're curious to see the kinds of people who are involved, and I especially encourage you, if you're an educator and you're interested in bringing these projects into your classroom, check out some of these profiles. So you can read all about these people, who they are, what motivated them to join, kind of what they've learned. And it just gives you a sense of this amazing community that you are part of when you join a NASA citizen science project. So that's what I wanted to share about on our homepage. I'm going to stop sharing and pause for a second. Does anyone have any questions? And you could raise your virtual hand or drop a question into the chat. I'm going to keep going with this tour. If I don't see any questions, so you'll have a chance to ask later. And Carolyn, thanks for being here with me. Maybe if there's a question in the chat, you can help bring my attention to it. All right, so as a way to give you a sense of some of those 30-some projects that are out there, I have broken them into 4 different categories. And I'm going to share my screen here. Oops, that's not the one. Slideshow. Can you all see that screen? Maybe, William, you can give me a thumbs up because I can see you. Can you see that screen? Do you see 4 options? Yep, great, awesome. So I have made these categories to talk about some of the many other projects that are out there. Deep space, cosmic questions, what the heck else is out there? And that's like talking about space. Topic 2, in our cosmic backyard, what's happening in our hood in the solar system. Topic 3, meanwhile, back on planet Earth. And topic 4, but wait, there's more, all about space weather and space biology. I would love for you all to drop in the chat 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which project would you like, which group of projects would you like me to talk about first? I'm going to watch for numbers. Okay, 3s, 1s, 1 and 2, 4. 4, 4. All right, Carolyn, I'm going to need your help. I'm seeing a lot of 1s.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much split. I would say just start maybe at topic 1, start from the very beginning.
Right. That sounds good. So we're going to start with number 1 because, yeah, we'll get there. So NASA, you probably think of deep space when you think of NASA. These are some of the other projects that are out there looking at things happening in deep space. And we're going to drop some links in the chat. Or you can just make a note on a piece of paper to find the project names. You can find those on that link I shared earlier. Dark Energy Explorers, if you really wanted to know what's going on with them now, you could join that group, join that breakout room. They're looking at dark energy, the mystery, it's not solved. Disk Detective is a project that's looking for these dusty disks around other stars in our solar system. Those dusty disks are where planet systems form. So they're really interested in how does planetary systems form around new stars and how did those systems evolve over time. Backyard Worlds Planet 9 is also looking for special things in our solar system. They're looking for the possible Planet 9. There's the physics of the way things are moving around in the solar system. There's some evidence that there is a planet that we haven't yet to identify. Maybe it's a planet, maybe it's one of these things that's bigger than a planet, smaller than a star, called a red dwarf. But that project is looking to find those yet to be identified objects out there. Exoplanet Watch and its sister project Unite are both projects that are getting people involved in using their own telescopes in their backyards to try to gather more information on candidate exoplanets. An exoplanet is a planet that is circling a star, but a star that's not our sun, right? So we look out in the sky, you see stars. Some of those stars have planets orbiting them. And we get a hint that they might be there if we watch the light that's coming from a star. And if we see a little dip in that light, it might be the shadow of an object passing in front of the sun. It's kind of like the eclipse that we had almost exactly a year ago today that we saw across North America. So these are folks who are using their telescopes to collect more information to follow up on those. Are we alone in the universe? The project name says it all. They are looking at radio signals from out there to see if they can find, kind of eliminate all of the known noise that we have, that we know about. You learn how to identify that pattern in the radio signals that are coming, and they're looking for something that looks like it's intentional, that's not something man-made. Redshift Wrangler is exploring it's really exploring time and space in a big way. They're looking at as light moves through the universe, it shifts red and blue. I don't know about this. It's not my area of expertise, but if you're interested in like how we can tell things are really far away, Redshift Wrangler is one for you. Exoasteroids. We were talking about exoplanets a minute ago. Exoplanets are planets that are orbiting other stars other than our sun. Exoasteroids are asteroids that are circling in systems other than ours. So those are around planetary bodies outside of our solar system. So those are some of the many projects that are exploring questions about deep space, like how does star and planetary systems form? What else is out there? I'm going to move on to topic group number 2. So this is in a little closer to home, in our cosmic backyard, inside this solar system that we call home. So Daily Minor Planet, which if you're really interested, you'd be over there. They are looking for asteroids and other objects that are coming near Earth and possibly even potentially impacting Earth. There's another project that's doing almost the same thing. It's called ISAC. ISAC is an acronym that stands for International Astronomical Search Collaborative. It's a little misleading because we pronounce it Isaac, even though that's not the way it's spelled, but bear with us. So this is a project that's really been developed and tuned for school groups who are interested in discovering asteroids. So you sign up for a campaign, and when you get accepted into the campaign, you get your own little packet of data, and you search in that packet of data to see if there are any objects. You have a set of 3 images from different times, same place, different time, and you're looking to see if anything is moving, and that movement might indicate an asteroid. So we don't only worry about asteroids, or we aren't only interested in asteroids because they might hit Earth. They also may hold the answer to the question of how water got to our planet. They also may carry water that we could use if we're trying to travel in space and need to fill up a water tank on a spaceship. Active Asteroids is a project that is looking for asteroids that are showing the telltale signal of carrying water, which usually means that they have a tail, which kind of is what we think of when we think of a comet, but these are asteroids with a tail or with a halo of debris. Cloud spotting on Mars is exactly what you think it is. You get to go into a data set collected by a sensor that is orbiting Mars, and you are helping to identify the signal in this data set of clouds on Mars. You don't actually get to look through pictures of what clouds look like on Mars from the planet because we don't have that kind of data. But you are beginning to help scientists collect information to help them characterize what's going on in the atmosphere of Mars. The Sungrazer project, it's another project about comets. This project is actually responsible for identifying more comets than any other means out there. Citizen scientists through this project have, I think, identified over 5,000, it might be over 6,000 comets. So the vast majority of known comets. It's a little more work. This is not a project that's all kind of teed up. You've got to do your own data download and work up your own data, but it's a really great community who helps each other. So if you're interested in kind of more technical projects and interested in comets, check out Sungrazer project. And Caroline's doing a great job of keeping up with me and putting links in the chat. Thank you, Caroline. So meanwhile, back on planet Earth, there are a lot of NASA sensors actually out there looking at Earth and understanding how is our climate changing, what's going on this planet that we call home. And a lot of those projects really benefit from having observations also made from Earth while those satellites are actually orbiting the planet and collecting data. So a lot of these are projects that are complementing data that are being collected by more kind of remote means, but it's really important to have those on the ground observations. So Globe Observer is an app that you can download on your phone. There are multiple protocols, so there are different research questions that you can join all through the same app. You can look at tree heights. That's something that's really hard for satellites to measure from above. So they marry the data the observations that are made by us here on Earth of how high trees are, how tall they are, with what satellites are seeing. And they're beginning to be able to train the data sets or train the interpretation of those data sets to make a better estimate of tree height. There are other projects looking at mosquito habitat, mosquito breeding habitat. So you learn where mosquitoes breed, you learn how to interrupt that. So you have immediate value to your local community as you participate in this project. You also get to track species of mosquitoes. As the climate changes, mosquitoes, different species are moving around. And mosquitoes carry a lot of disease. They are actually a very dangerous organism for human health. So that project lets you help your local community, immediate value, and helping scientists tracking how mosquito species are moving around the planet. Fresh Eyes on Ice is another twofer project. It's a feeding two birds with one scone project, as we like to say. So this happens in Alaska and northern areas. These are people making observations of ice thickness in the wintertime in Alaska, and they share it with each other to keep each other safe as they're traveling around that state, around those frozen areas during wintertime. People moving on ice is actually the easiest way to get around Alaska. They're also sharing those data with scientists who are looking at the impact of climate change on the thickness of ice and also the timing of when does it form, when does it break up, how thick is it? Lake observations by citizen scientists and satellites is another project that is working with satellites that are orbiting our planet. And in particular, the SWOT mission, or the Surface, Water, and Ocean Topography mission. So this is a satellite that's able to tell the height of water all around the planet, looking at the ocean, which tells us where the currents are, but also looking at the height in lakes. And it turns out lake systems are connected in complicated ways. And understanding how the water is going up and down in different lakes with different precipitation patterns in an area helps scientists understand more about groundwater. And, you know, water, fresh water, clean fresh water is essential for our lives, humans on the planet, but also other life. So that's a really important project. Sprite-tacular is an Earth-based project, sort of, but it's looking at something that's happening that's more related to space weather, really. It turns out above thunderstorms, you get these incredible things, these light phenomena called sprites. They're called transient luminous events, right? Temporary light events happening over thunderstorms. And they have like mind-blowing shapes, crazy shapes. They last for just the blink of an eye. They're really hard to see with your eyes, but they're easier to see with really fast camera systems. So there's communities of people who are already out there chasing storms and looking at space weather. If that's you, if you know people who are into that, they might have seen a sprite. If you've never heard of a sprite, I hadn't until recently, check out this project because they're just amazing. If you're someone who just gets excited about science, sprites are wild. And then we have two projects, Mountain Rain or Snow, and X-Snow, who are looking at snow and precipitation here on Earth. So Mountain Rain and Snow, turns out it's really hard for LiDAR, to tell the difference between rain and snow right around freezing. And if you live in the north or high up, like I do here in Maine, you know that it sometimes snows when it's above freezing and it rains when it's below freezing, which is kind of weird. This project is collecting data to help those systems understand and distinguish between rain and snow, which has big implications for safety of driving around, certainly, but also the different forms of precipitation have different value. I think we're going to be almost out of time here, so I'm going to have to speed up. X-Snow is another project looking at snow depth, snowpack, understanding how that influences our groundwater. So finally, until we get interrupted here, I'm going to tell you about the other project. So space weather. There's a whole bunch of projects. The ham radio group, HamSci, these are ham radio operators around the world working together to ask questions and then collect data to learn more about our ionosphere. That's the layer that they're bouncing their signals around the planet. Aurora Source is looking at auroras, at northern lights, southern lights. These are a physical manifestation, a visible manifestation of the interaction between space weather and our magnetosphere. So they're collecting observations on that. And Radio Jove is looking at, you can set up your own radio telescope and make observations, collect data to understand more about what's happening in outer space and even listen in on the messages from other planets. And finally, the Open Science Data Repository Analysis Working Groups. If you are interested in the biology of Earth organisms in space, like how do we support life in space long term? First on the International Space Station, but then if you think about, like, we wanted to send people to Mars, we want to send people farther away, we're going to have to figure out how to keep life, human life, but also life of the things that we need to eat, healthy and thriving on those long-term missions. So this is a group that's formed around this resource, the Open Science Data Repository. It is a massive data set or data repository that includes all of the data sets on space experiments, flight experiments, looking at the impact on life that's evolved here on Earth, of being in space, right? Of being exposed to radiation, of existing in no gravity, of existing, like how do you grow a plant on the International Space Station? So this data set has all the different data sets from those different experiments all in one space. And this group has first worked to figure out the metadata, the information about the information in each of those individual data sets to enable research across them. So if you can look at you have a question about mouse health in space, you can look at all of the experiments that have been done on mouse health, and try to get more value from those incredibly valuable, incredibly hard to get data points. So this is a group of people who are both making this data set more usable, but then using it to answer questions about how do we support life in space. Phew. That's that's all I have. I'm going to stop sharing. And I am going to see once again if there are any questions. That was a total whirlwind. So
Yeah, I mean, Sarah, I can kick it off with a question while everybody else gets their brains
Yeah.
going. So you've been involved with these projects for a long time. I know it's hard to pick a favorite, so I'm not gonna ask that question. I'm gonna ask, which one do you tend to do the most often?
oh, wow. Well, Globe Observer, it's pretty easy to go outside. I love clouds. I love looking at clouds. I'm a member of the Cloud Appreciation Society, and I love making observations of clouds with Globe Observer. They actually tell you when there's a satellite flying overhead, so you can go out and you're making observations up while that satellite is looking down, which I think is pretty cool. I'd let the Zooniverse projects. A lot of the projects that I talked about, I didn't tell you where they were, but a lot of them are on this platform called Zooniverse. And you're going and looking at data that's been collected by something, whether it's a camera trap here on Earth or a space telescope or something. And scientists need, like, our human eyes and brains are still better than any computer out there for spotting patterns across things. So these projects they really need our special eyes and brains to help make sense of these data and find the really interesting things. And those are just fun to do. It's kind of wild to be looking at pictures of deep space that like not many people get to see. And you get to be one of the first people to see them and look to see if this one contains an asteroid or a red dwarf or who knows what. I think those are pretty cool.
Then follow-up question on that. This is awesome. So we have a lot of SciStarter ambassadors in this group. So they're
Yes.
responsible for like managing others and getting others involved in citizen science at the public library, for example.
Heroes.
Yes.
Heroes.
And if they're going to pick a project, one of the projects you shared to do with a large group, which one would you recommend?
Oh, gosh. One of the things that's great about the NASA-sponsored citizen science projects, just like I demonstrated, we have projects in space, we've got projects in our solar system, we have projects way out there, we have projects on Earth. I would encourage them to find out what the people they're speaking with are interested in, because there probably is a project that either lets them do a task they want to do. Maybe they want to be outside because spring is springing and they want to get out of doors. Maybe they want to do a project inside because spring is not springing and they want to be safe, warm, and comfortable or cool. So I really encourage people to figure out what your group is interested in and then offer them choice.
That's amazing advice, everyone. Last chance for questions, get them in the chat. But if no one else has anything, I'm always curious. I'll ask Sarah. I think everybody's coming back in 1 minute. I'll ask Sarah one more question. Is there anything you didn't get a chance to say that you want to say about the projects? Because I know we didn't have too much time together today.
Well, yeah, some of these projects, there's a task that it's designed to support people doing, and that's really what the scientists need first and foremost. But if you get really into some of these projects, many of these projects, there's usually a deeper end of the pool that you get invited to play in or you can join. And that might be a science call with the scientist team who's leading the project, and you can ask questions about how you're classifying things or about the work or what's happening, or there's just deeper ways to get involved. So I think citizen science projects are this amazing place to begin your adventure. And I'd also say most people who do a project are doing more than one. So one might be really hard and you find something that's really easy and you can like do the one that you feel like doing in any given moment.
That's a perfect segue for our main room. So I think we're all back together. Let's pass the mic to Emma.
Sweet. And what a great like sentence to come in on. Thank you, Sarah, for bringing that up. And all of our groups are coming back, so thank you. Welcome back to the main room. I hope you had some time to look at a couple of examples of the Zooniverse projects and test it out on your own. I know that it's a bit of a couple of minutes process of being able to sign up for the group. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can see the instructions for joining the Zooniverse group, so you can keep working on this and just see how much you can get done over time in this unique group of individuals. So what you'll be doing first, I'll drop in the chat for you so that it is also counted as far as Citizen Science Month and 1 Million Acts of Science. Step number 1, you're going to sign up for your free SciStarter account. That's who produces these programs, by the way. And then step number 2, you're going to sign up for the Zooniverse account if you haven't already. And then add that username of your Zooniverse account to your SciStarter account. Okay. The QR codes also go directly to these links as well. So if you want to do that, you're welcome to. And then the final step is to join that group on Zooniverse. So once you click that button, that link, it should automatically push you into the group if you have an account on Zooniverse. If you have any trouble doing any of these things, you can reach out to us as well. One question that just came in: add your Zooniverse username to your SciStarter profile. That'll be done in your settings. So on my screen, which you should be able to see if I go to scistarter.org/dashboard/settings, which is in the chat, you'll be able to see an option at the very bottom. I scrolled all the way down to affiliation integration, and I'll go ahead and drop that link in the chat again for you. Number 3. Link. All right. So I hope that went well. I do have a couple questions for you before we move forward. Those questions in the chat you'll get in the follow-up email, so don't worry if I'm rushing you, just trying to get the information out there. But if you need more time, there's all the time in the world. These were some great groups. I jumped into a bunch of them, several of them, so I could say hello and check out what was happening. But we'd love to know how you feel about these projects. So now that you know at least one example of a project, how likely do you think you are to do more of this project that you learned about in your breakout room? I'll drop the link in the chat too. And again, these steps will be in a follow-up email, so do not worry about jumping through those hoops right now. Yeah, if you didn't get it done, you're good. Don't worry about it. Do not worry. Are you very likely? Are you somewhat likely to do these projects? Are you unsure? Are you somewhat unlikely? Are you generally unlikely? You're like, dang, I chose the wrong room. I don't like asteroids. That would be an odd perspective, but okay. Awesome. Great. Okay, I'm going to move it to the next one to save some time because it's a similar question, but someone just mentioned Globe Observer. Is there anyone who's thinking they want to explore other projects in the future, whether it's through NASA Citizen Science or any different programs? I noticed a couple of you had written things like iNaturalist and Coco Roz earlier. If you were curious about any of those, we would love to know about it. Yeah, love it, and have sent the project link to a few friends. Yes, Carissa. Amazing. Marine debris tracker. That's a great one, Diane. Awesome. Sweet. I'm happy to hear it. Okay, so before I take up too much time then, I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic back over to Sarah to talk a little bit about resources through NASA. We are closing in on the end of the hour, so just a heads up, if any of you do have to leave while we're in the middle of this, we appreciate you. But if you want to stick around to make sure you hear all of it, we'd love to have you for that time.
Great, thanks, Emma, and thanks everyone. I'm here in this part of the program presenting on behalf of my friend and colleague Clarence Bostick. There's his email address. Do make a note of it. If you have questions about what I'm going to say, you want to address them to him. He's really the source of information on resources for military members and their families here and overseas. He actually was an educator, a teacher on a base in Japan, so he really has a huge amount of respect and affection for military families and a huge amount of respect for the sacrifice. And when we talked last week about what I should say on his behalf today, he reminded me that one of the kind of reasons we're having this event with you all, specifically for folks who are connected to the military, is he and one of his colleagues gave a presentation to the military community and Family Policy Office, telling them about all the NASA related stuff that might be of use or interest to folks in the military. And they're the ones who said, hey, these citizen science projects you're describing, they sound like they would be a lot of fun and maybe a good hobby for members of the military. Is that true? And he said, absolutely. Let's figure out a way to bring these ideas and opportunities to the military members themselves. So that's thanks to Clarence for being part of the genesis of the idea for this program. So in that presentation that he and his colleague made, they presented a military one-source MilLife guide. And there's a link right there. We're going to, I think, drop a link in the chat as well. So this is all the information, a summary of all that's available to you. Which, if you're not connected to the military, this is just a format that's familiar to military folks, but it's not something that's unique. You can join any of these projects. We really welcome everyone. If you are looking or interested in NASA jobs, all of them, like any civil servant opening, is available and listed on the usajobs.gov website. So take a look at that. If you're a military service member and you're nearing the end of your commitment to the military and you're interested in learning more about NASA opportunities, there is a special NASA skill bridge that will give you access to opportunities to learn more about what's happening in NASA and how your skill set might connect to what NASA is looking for and the work that it's doing. If you're interested in a NASA internship, or if you have a young person in your life who might be, NASA offers a number of internship opportunities for high school students and also for college students. They are just for high school and college students. And there is, by the way, a deadline coming up, May 16. So follow that link, intern.nasa.gov, to learn more about the opportunities available. And look into making your application before the 16th. Next slide, please, Emma. Clarence and I also had a great conversation about, kind of broadly speaking, how these projects might be useful to folks who, especially who are on a base, either overseas or in the US. You're looking for something fun to do that helps you stay connected with people who are not on your base. Doing a citizen science project with all the other people in your country and around the world who are doing it is one way to stay connected. There are also, a lot of these projects are really fun to do with kids or with learning groups. There are bases who are using citizen science projects with 4-H clubs. There are some who are using other resources like this Astro Camp. They're great kind of engagement opportunities, something that you can use to connect with other people on base or even off base. And you can also make sure that, like, these are fun things to do in your recreation time, whether, again, you're doing a program for your local community and you want to bring something outside of your base that you can offer to that community and help them get involved in something that they might find exciting and rewarding, or you're doing something on base with folks there. One note that Clarence brought to my attention that we hadn't really thought about, be careful, some of the data collection projects, so if you're making observations outside and sharing them into a database, require that you report your place where you're making that observation. So you may or may not be appropriate depending on where you are stationed. But there are projects where you don't have to report where you are, and those would be some of the projects like the ones on Zooniverse, or online projects where you're just participating in a virtual community all online and not having to report your location. So those are some great opportunities. I'm going to drop Clarence's link or his email address in the chat in case you have any questions. He really is a huge advocate, both for citizen science, but also for military family members, veterans, you name it. So get in touch with him. He'd love to help you find a project or a resource that suits your needs. Thanks.
Perfect timing, Sarah. Perfect timing. Excellent. And again, we will send a follow-up email with a lot of this information. So don't worry about memorizing things and saving links. You'll be able to access those in the follow-up email. As I mentioned at the beginning and repeatedly in a couple other scenarios here, It is April. It is 1 Million Acts of Science month. It's Citizen Science month. And so everything you can do to participate in these projects or other projects you want to explore absolutely count towards this goal of 1 million. So please tell us about it. If you go to our website, citizensciencemonth.org, or Roland just dropped in the chat, SciStarter.org/Citizen Science Month. You can go there and find projects, find events beyond this one, and also report your acts of science if you haven't set up the digital connection too. Now, before you all leave, we would like to know what you liked most about this event, or things that will stick with you, or things you want to learn more about. We know it's hard to fit everything in an hour. You know how fast I'm talking. And so it's definitely something we want to make sure that we can be able to build these things in the future and come back and bring us all together. And the only way to do that is to learn from you all. So I'm going to open that QR code again and drop the link in the chat if you'd like to give us a hint as to what things were impactful to you. We would love to know what you would like to know next, what we should focus on next. I'm going to leave this up for a moment here and see if there were any questions for any of the team members. For any of the team members from projects or our NASA team, we would love to know about them. And before we all leave, I also want to thank all of our speakers, which I think, let me go ahead and change my screen so I can actually see you all. There we go. Since I don't see any questions in the chat yet. To all of our speakers and our project teams who are so wonderful, Sarah, Amy, Carson, Nathan, Jose, who had to run to teach his chemistry class, Danny, thank you so much. Kim, thank you so much for joining us for this. And Mark also had to jump, but we are so appreciative of being able to bring everyone together here. Awesome. And it's Global Astronomy Month too. Yes, Michael, thank you. Awesome. Yeah. I noticed, some of you are having trouble with the group. I'll go ahead and investigate to see what might be going on and send that in the follow-up, because there might be something else going on too. Yeah. But you should be able to be in the group. The second you click that link, it'll automatically add you in. It was all great. That's what we like to hear. More sessions, more live interactions. Okay. Very positive today's presentations. Active asteroids. Yeah, we'd love to hear from active asteroids too. More asteroids. Small groups looking at projects. Yeah, I personally would love to be able to do more time doing that too, because I know you probably only got through a couple of examples and practice, so we'd love to keep doing that.
Hey, Emma, can I just jump in here? This is
Yeah.
Sarah. I just want to note that a lot of these projects, they have a lot of people around the world participating, and sometimes they get through all the data on the website. So I think Active Asteroids is one of these right now. They just finished a data set. They're going to post a new data set sometime in the next couple of weeks. If you see a message that says, hey, thanks, we finished our data set, don't lose hope. There might be more data coming. And that team will really, really welcome your support in getting through the next data set as well. So don't lose hope. If your favorite project is out of data, revisit.
Totally. Something else to mention too, project leads. Do any of you do the meetups to answer questions or work with your volunteers? If any of you do, feel free to drop information in the chat for that, or send it my way so I can add it in the follow-up email as well. I know some project leaders do end up doing that. Question about or sorry, Sarah, did you want to mention?
I was just going to say, especially the projects that are on the Zooniverse platform, and many of the others, there is some kind of a forum or a place where you can leave a message. It may not be answered in real time, but if you leave a message, post something, another volunteer who knows the answer because they asked that question a month ago might chime in and help you out, or the project leads. And you can even ask there about calls or other opportunities to do more.
Absolutely. There was a question in how SciStarter relates to Zooniverse and why be involved in each. That's a great question. Zooniverse and SciStarter are both big platforms for citizen science. Zooniverse helps with a very specific type of participation with classifying images and data. SciStarter is an aggregator, so we collect all the different projects and try to make it easier for you to find projects. So we're partners. Zooniverse and SciStarter work together to ensure that we can get folks more access to projects and drive them to Zooniverse. And we also help Zooniverse gather more information on how people participate over time too. So we're learning a lot about the field of citizen science from you all. For this specific month, being a part of both means that we can make sure all of your participation counts towards the 1 million acts of science goal. So that's the main reason for us signing you up today for both. So just a heads up for that. Awesome. Forums are excellent. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, if you end up at any of the forums with project leaders, perfect. It's a great example of those meetups. Okay, since we're about 5 minutes over the hour, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and close this out. If you have any questions for us, feel free to reach out to info@scistarter.org, which Roland, please put in the chat for us. We would love to talk to you. We'll be sending a follow-up email. If you have any thoughts you'd like to share about today, beyond what you wrote in the Mentimeter just now, there is a survey that asks some specific questions about how it went today. It takes about 30 seconds to do, so feel free. We would love to hear about how it went so we can improve it for the next time. With that, I'll go ahead and end our recording and bid you all adieu, and we'll see you next time.